live in Abuja. I was supposed to post this video on day before yesterday, but I didn't post it. Why you guys see me live in Abuja? USA military, live in Abuja right now.
General, can you tell Nigerians why you're here today?
Ladies and gentlemen, the United States military arrived in Nigeria this morning. We're here at the invitation of your government, and we are committed to working alongside Nigerian forces.
The United States have given Nigerian government 2 conditions to meet in 2 months. What are these conditions? The first conditions given to Nigerian government to do is to publish the list of terrorists or terrorist financiers, those who are sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria, that TINUBU administration should publish them within 60 days. Wow, that is quite interesting. You know, there have been several calls to prosecute the financier of terrorism. The United Arab Emirates has published certain names given to Nigerian government that these are people sponsoring terrorism. But what did the government do with those lists? Even right from the days of Buhari being the president of Nigeria, the then Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, made it public that soon they will prosecute the financiers of terrorism. That was how it ended. And later, in the course of time, they told us that they will be secretly prosecuted. Tinubu told us that the financier of terrorism wreaking havoc, destroying communities, overrunning Nigerian indigenous communities, and certainly disrupting economic and societal lives. Not just that alone, killing Nigerian indigenous citizens before the watch of the government. The government said it's going to try them secretly. And thereafter, that went down the drain. Nobody heard about that again. And recall, there was a report from an intelligence agency boss, a Yoruba man, who revealed that there was a time 400 terrorists was captured. And they demanded for the prosecution of these terrorists. Unfortunately, they were released by the powers from above. You know what that means? Which means these people has no political will to expose terrorism. By way of doing this, they are considered an accomplice to whatever is going on. So it is pretty difficult. It's one of the almost impossible tasks for Tinubu to do. Why? Because surrounding him are people who possibly might be indicted if such a list will be exposed. Of course, the United States have the details of these individuals involved. Recall recently, even the governor of Benue State gave such disclosure that from the panel of inquiry that was set up, he discovered that about 16 senators were financing, supplying logistics, supporting the killings of the indigenous communities of Benue people. It's rather unfortunate. So, and these people are within the power cycle or the corridor of power, just as Jonathan said that the Boko Haram cabinet, the Boko Haram members are in his cabinet. The commanders of Boko Haram are part of his cabinet members. Jonathan was bold to say it because he has no any stringent attack. He is not driven by political rascality and unguided ambition to become or return as the president of Nigeria at all costs. And that's why he was neutral. He was able to contend these SSEs, fight Boko Haram to the point that the North has to, Northern conspiracy by the political elites, start fighting him, that you want to take a revenge of what happened in 1967 to 1970. At every point in time, they will have one propaganda or the other to justify their obnoxious, of course, and hidden intentions. And unfortunately, most Nigerians fell into that trap. But today, majority of them, the likes of Garadima, now realize that Jonathan was a saint, that he was outrightly wrong. He was deceived by the euphorias or deception of inducement or whatever. And that is the reality today. So, will Tinubu eventually have the political will, the boldness to publish the names of the financiers of terrorism, those terrorists personified individuals who, either through their moral, financial support, are advancing, are abetting this crime against humanity. So it's a very difficult task for Tinubu to do. You can see that indeed he's not resting. There is panic in Asorok. There is serious panic going on because national security emergency meetings have been held for countless times now. Only God knows. Meeting upon meeting upon meeting. That does not end there. The bold demand is, if you are not part of this conspiracy, killing of Nigerian citizens, being the chief security and the grand commander of the armed forces, the president of Nigeria, you took an oath of allegiance to protect the territorial integrity of Nigerians and the life and well-being of Nigerians, to prioritize the life and well-being of Nigerians. Now, if you are not part of this clique, then you have nothing to hide. That is the question. That is the ball on the court of Tinubu to kick. The post is already there, open for him. Exonerate yourself. Tell the world that you're innocent of whatever may have been going through. In a bid to oust Jonathan out of office, the APC clique movement then, they conspired against Nigerians, against the sovereign state of Nigeria by importing terrorists in the bid to help them win the election, because they were certain that there is no possibility of them winning if should the election be conducted free and fair. And they sought for outsiders. And unknowing to them, shockingly and surprisingly, they were declared winners after Jonathan congratulated Buhari, despite the cross manipulations in that election. Jonathan considered, knowing fully well there is certain vested foreign interests that want to destabilize Nigeria or his government, just as they have said. The likes of Rotimi Amechi said, should Jonathan eventually win, they are going to set up a parallel government. So the likes of Rotimi Amechi should also be held responsible. No wonder the Canadian government or attorney designated the APC as a terrorist organization. And with all this that is happening, so they laid the foundation of this crisis. And they could not shift the blame to any other individual or political party. They laid the foundation, and the so-called new PDP movements, the likes of Atiku and the rest of them, they pulled out from PDP just to protect Jonathan. And eventually, after the election was declared, and Jonathan considered, if not even that the election was declared, Jonathan considered, in the interest of preserving and shedding up whatever possibility that will lead to breakdown of law and order and the lives of Nigerians not to be wasted. And thereafter, they were shocked. And the people they brought in to help them to fight, that baboon and monkeys will be soaked in the blood, and the rest of them, they now found Nigeria as a safe haven, as an opportunity to max wealth, to exploit the people. Oh, well, this place, there could be possibilities of kidnapping and the rest of it, indulging in criminality, because that was what they were contracted to do. And when eventually the game is over, this government never knew how to return these people back. You cannot understand how impossible it is to meet with these conditions within 60 days. And the second one is disarm the terrorists. That is where the fire quench finally. We've seen escalations of these attacks coordinated almost simultaneously. It is happening at one location, one region. It is happening at the same time, about the same time, at different regions. In fact, it appears that hell is let loose. Hell is let loose. Abuja even is not safe. After TINUBU addressed the press conference or give instructions, you know what happened? They started bombarding. They started raiding communities. Even Abuja village community was raided. So what does that tell you? That that is even practically impossible to people that comes with armed to the teeth, with their magazines well decorated around them, coming for peace talk. You want to take what they used to eat, just as one of their elder brother and their spokesperson, Sheikh Gumi, said that these people, they need to eat. They are hungry, you know. And my people do say, Ori mara koka go. Somebody went on the chop, my mouth went on chop, 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 chop. Now he chop, 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 they like too much. You cannot understand how impossible it is for Tinubu to disarm the terrorists. It's quite impossible. Honestly, it doesn't have the capacity, and hence this informs the reasons why the U.S. government must not continue to wait for the 60 days, because already Nigerian security has collapsed. And that is the evidence of what we are seeing. Escalations of kidnapping with just brazen impunity. I mean, non-state actors holding the government to ransom, to her knees. You know what that means. And you've seen the onslaught against the military, and it's so unfortunate the civilians are being rounded up, including innocent students, children, are being subjected to certain level of cruelty. And America, watching all these things, you saw one of the clergymen that was adopted along with his family was unfortunately killed, even after ransom was paid. So there are abundant evidence on ground to justify the claim there is a genocide, Christian genocide going on, and the ethnic cleansing, as most governors, city governors have admitted. The likes of Benue governor, Plateau governor came out almost crying out his eyes before the public. It's rather unfortunate. Anyone denying these current realities will either be an accomplice or a beneficiary of this cruelty that is ongoing. It's rather unfortunate, and it is glaring at this particular time that Tinubu has no capacity to turn the tides of insurgency escalating across the regions. But his government has been weighed and tried, and if found wanting, Mene take care of sin will be the next, of course, history that may be made, because it is no longer about defection from PDP to APC and other parties to APC and the rest of them. The main governance is up, have been thrown to him. The Mr. Capacity should be reflected. People are watching to see that Mr. Capacity. And just as Erofai said then, to deceive some gullible Nigerians, and we understood his antecedent. He said that Tinubu has the capacity based on his experience. Of course, now is when the experience needed to come into play, and the U.S. government has made the job very easier for him just to focus on two things. One is to dislodge or disarm the terrorists, which is practically impossible. The terrorists that are planning to come and kidnap him so that he will pay better ransom. You want to dislodge. You know, it is almost impossible. People, when they go for the so-called RNG peace deal, which has never been even kept by any means possible. And you see them with their decorated magazines and ready to scribe because they never trusted even the Nigerian government in engaging in such a peace deal with them. They have never trusted themselves, let alone to trust Nigerian government, knowing fully well what they represent and the horror they have caused unleashed on Nigerian indigenous communities, citizens of Nigeria. So Tinubu problem has been narrowed to enable him focus. He's no longer discussing about politics. When last did you hear Bayo and the rest of them talking about politics defections? This is the capacity. You are needed to show that capacity now. Disarm the terrorists. Hey, definitely heard us. Militias, terrorists, Islamic State of West African province, you have the Al Qaeda link, you have the Mahmuda, you have the Lakaura and the Laka whatever, Laka Mu and Ku Boko, the men Boko. It is quite pretty impossible for Tinubu to achieve, honestly, and that will set a pace. Of course, we force the U.S. to boot on the ground and do what is needful. And possibly that might cost Tinubu his election bid. He just continue to talk about the election bid when the people currently are not secure. Who will be alive to vote for 2027? So this is where the challenge lies. So you can't leave the issue, the art of governance, the issue of prioritizing the life and security of Nigerians. You are talking about the election bid. You might be considered as somebody who possibly might have something wrong with him or her, or wrong with something, or something wrong with you. So the main bone of contention is, how do you safeguard the Nigerian population? Honestly, it is overwhelming what is happening today. You begin to ask. In fact, there is unimaginable expanse of territories that is ungoverned, where the terrorists are having a field day, subjecting Nigerians to such level of cruelty, subjugations, and exploitations going on currently. And they call that part of Nigeria. So the ball is on his court to deliver. And again, last but not the least, almost unachievable. Well, it lies on the court of Tinubu to name, to publish, list the names in your hand, the Boko Haram terrorist sponsors. List them, list them. If you're one, start with yourself. If you're not part of it, list them that are there, list them. Whether they're in your cabinet or ministers or governors or VP, whatever they are, just list them there. And or they are your PA, whatever they are, be they are central bank, whatever they are, list it, whether they are senators, are they governors, pastors, serving? Put them there. That is the greatest teacher's job that is only meant for the chief of the grand commander of the armed forces and the president of Nigeria to fix the mess, fix the problem. Be bold, have the political will. If your hands are clean, then you must come with equity, with a clean hands. Otherwise, it will happen. Of course, let me leave it there. If you understand what is playing out, let me know via the comment section. If you understand what is going on now, there is fire, heavy fire burning. And, in the labs, when the fire is burning in your labs, you don't know, you don't be talking about egg or delicacies. So that is just the situation today. And more pressures are mounting, even within the senators, the House of the Representatives, demanding, of course, possibly with their push a motion for impeachment. Only time we know, well, that is immaterial now. What is important? Fix the mess. Whether you are the one that met it or you met the mess, or the mess hit you or whatever hits each other, fix it now. Let me have your own take via the comment section.